Hi everyone, Dr. Armstead here, aka Dr. J, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about job classifications and job descriptions. Now, I've had quite a few clients and students ask me to help them understand job classifications, job descriptions, and why they're important. So that's what I'm going to talk about on this video. So first of all, a job classification is the classification of a particular job that you're doing within an organization. So we're going to use the human resources specialist for an example. So the HR specialist classification in the federal sector is a 0201, okay? Within that 0201, there are also different levels of different types of human resources professionals that you could be within the sector, as is in the private sector. So with the human resources classification, some things that need to be outlined within the job description and the job classification are the tasks of the position, the knowledge, the skills, the abilities, the working activities, and working conditions. These are all things that are outlined within the classification of the position. Now, within the job description, that can be minimized slightly compared to that of the job classification. The difference is the job classification is the detailed outline of the entire job within all levels, okay? The job description outlines the particular position that you're working in at that time. So if you're working as a human resources specialist, but it has a promotion potential to a supervisor, then in the job classification, you could have all the duties, versus in the job description, you can just show the duties that are needed for that particular position at that point that they're actually working at that level. Okay, so going back to the HR example. So human resources specialists, what are some things that human resources specialists do? Well, they do a couple of different things. One thing is they recruit. So with recruiting comes making sure people are vetted, doing background checks, doing interviews, making sure hiring officials understand what questions are appropriate to ask and not appropriate to ask. So also within the recruitment standpoint comes human resources professionals that just do recruitment. So you can break it down however you want to within an organization, or you can have HR generalists. So the HR generalist knows a little bit of everything. It's kind of like being a Jane of all trades within the HR field. Okay, so being an HR specialist entails making sure you have good people skills, aka soft skills. You're able to communicate efficiently, you're able to write effectively, you're able to get your point across, and you're able to work in teams. So these items are not mutually exclusive just to human resources. Within a job classification, you could use these same soft skills for other positions. So you could use them if you are working in a janitorial position that has the employee interacting with a lot of different people, customers, employees, subordinates, things like that, versus only having to create specific classifications for one job. HR specialists can create a list of different KSAs, also known as knowledge, skills, and abilities, and then use them for different job classifications as long as they're applicable. Now, if they're not applicable, then obviously those have to change for that particular position. So to use another example, an admin officer. So an admin officer and an HR officer, sometimes they have similar duties, but there are specific things that are completely different. So for an example, an admin officer may deal with completing evaluations, put employee professional backgrounds and making sure feedback is given effectively so employees know exactly what's going to be required of them in a position, versus an HR officer may also do some of those similar things, but it may reference to a federal sector or state law or EEOC, which is Equal Employment Opportunity. So then that goes into another job description. So an EEO specialist, an Equal Opportunity Specialist. Those are people that actually have the positions that are delegated towards employee equal opportunity, making sure diversity training is being given properly, things like that. So even though we're talking about three different jobs, admin officer, HR officer, and an EEO officer or specialist, they could have similar duties, but the intrinsic nature of the specific job can be diversely different. So how do you know whether your classification and your job descriptions mirror one another? Well, you start with the job analysis. The job analysis outlines what is needed for that particular position for that organization. After a human resources specialist completes a job analysis, they review it, they make sure that all the jobs, the duties, the KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities, are equatable to the particular position. Then once the position is analyzed, they take the job analysis and they create a job classification. So the job classification is a mirror of the job analysis, okay? So now we're at the job classification. The classification outlines the summary of the job, basically what the job is going to be about. It's going to be roughly 3 to 4 sentences, if not shorter. It could be a statement, but then what you get into is the details of the knowledge, skills, and abilities. Again, the KSAs. So once you get to the KSAs, then you're going to outline the task of the job. What is this person going to be doing in the job specifically? How are they going to be doing it? What tools and technologies are needed for the job to be done? Okay. Also, what kind of soft skills are needed? Do they need to learn how to communicate effectively? Do they need to know how to use Word effectively? Do they need to know how to use presentation software such as PowerPoint or Prezi? These are all viable factors that are included and analyzed within the job analysis, equated to the job classification, and now we get to the job description, okay? So we started with the job analysis, then we did the job classification, now we're at the job description. So the job description is a synopsis of what the classification and the job analysis was. So if you have a job description and you want to create it for a person that may be an interim position or even a student intern, you can use the classification that you created for that entire job, but then just minimize it for the student or the interim position, and then have a gradual upgrade to what is going to be needed as that person progresses or as the position evolves. These are all viable factors. The great thing about human resources is that it's always changing and you can always improve upon it whenever you feel your organization is changing as well. One more thing I wanted to add. So with the KSAs, the knowledge, skills, and abilities, those items can be as long or as short as the organization needs. So don't feel like you're limited by how many KSAs you can have. If you go to onet.org, and you type in Human Resources Specialist, you will get roughly 2 to 3 pages of KSAs, working activities, and tools and technologies. This is a great way to start creating a job analysis and or job classification, and then a job description that is also based and verified by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So when you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, why do I need that? Why is that important? Well, that equates to how much money and compensation this person should receive for this particular position. That is really important. The main objective and the goal of the job analysis, the job classification, and now the job description is to make sure that the person is getting a fair wage for what they are doing within an organization. All in all, it covers the organization to ensure that they are legal abiding by what is needed in the position and for the organization and by federal law. These are all check-off factors that can help improve your organization and your job descriptions for your employees. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you're more than welcome to email me at janicearmstead@gmail.com or also respond to this video. Have a wonderful day.